So it's all about our rights. It's all about our rights in this country. I'm going to put my pocket constitution down. This is going to be quick. I'm going to give an update on what I have learned about the incident in Oregon and what's continuing to happen there. I got as much as at 3:30 this morning. I got a little more information, but here's the really, it's the typical sad thing that we're seeing from the mass media, and that is they're only reporting just whatever fits their narrative. So doing news like this or some outlets like this or giving you the information that we can get together as citizens is important to put out there. So anyway, it's going to be short. Here's what I've learned a little bit more about what's happening in Oregon. And one report came in at 3:30 this morning. I'd love to have some other people verify this. So if you are a Second Amendment proponent, you're a constitutional American, and you happen to have some information about actually what things look like in Oregon right now or in Idaho, that would be great. But so let me recap quickly. So there was supposed to be a vote last week. Actually earlier, this is Wednesday. Yeah, the end of last week, there was supposed to be a vote within the Oregon State Senate to pass and it was a state legislation session. So this was one of the things they were going to vote on. It was talking about greenhouse emissions. And it was a very, very sweeping bill that 11 GOP senators got up, walked out, left. They refused to vote. And every state's a little bit different, but in Oregon, they won't vote without having a quorum. They have to have a certain percentage of senators there in order to have a quorum to vote. So these state senators left. Here's why they left. Okay, this is a typical Democrat liberal bill. It was going to do a number of things, but here's two that it was going to do. One is it was going to put a 22-cent per gallon increase on gas tax. It was a 22-cent gas tax. That's huge. I don't know what percentage of the average gas price is out there, but that's huge. It was also going to double the price of natural gas. That's just two things that were coming out of it. And it's addressing an issue that really, as citizens, as Americans, as a world, really, we can't agree on whether or not global warming and some things are real. I have my own opinion. But that's not the issue here. The issue here is these 11 state senators left. Apparently, they went out of state. A lot of them, it looks like they went to Idaho. There's been some news stories where a couple of reporters have talked with a couple of them out of state. They refused to come back and vote. So after a little discourse between Kate Brown and at least one of the other senators, basically she is going to, she already has, sent the state police. And this is not the big part of the story. I'm going to tell you the big part of the story in a minute. And please share this because this is what you're not hearing from the news. The news media will not really tell you this. The story is being squashed. So these state senators have gone to Idaho, and she sent out the state police to go find them, capture them, bring them back. And I don't know the laws about extradition from Idaho to, back to Oregon. I can't tell you, but here's what the news is not telling you. The initial report that I got, there were about 600 American militia who had agreed to support the GOP, the Republican senator's stance to leave and to not have a vote on this bad greenhouse gas emissions bill. They're going to say, hey, we're not going to let Kate Brown rule, have the authoritarian rule and bring you back. So that was the report that I initially got. What I'm hearing now is that there are in excess of 3,000 militia. I'm just going to call them Americans who support the Second Amendment and who support our due process. Call them what you want. I don't care. Again, I love the pictures, so maybe I'm one of them. Americans need to say no. So exactly what's happening, exactly what Kate Brown is doing. It is rule by tyranny. It's a tyrannical rule in that state. And if you don't know anything about Oregon's laws or Oregon's government, or how that state has changed in the last 10 years, or what has happened to the logging industry, or what's been allowed for China to come in and sweeping take over a lot of the industry in that state. Go look it up. The information's out there, because I'm not going to run on for 10 or 20 minutes on this. But you need to know that the media is not reporting that there's a huge amount of Americans who are going to stand behind these state senators' decision to leave. And the irony of this is, so Kate Brown is a typical hypocrite, right? She, in 2001, she did the same thing. She was a state senator at the time. She walked out and refused to vote on a bill. She left also. So now she is going to use force and use the state military or state. She says state police. I think they're like a lot of states state troopers. But she's going to send these troopers out to go try to collect the state senators and bring them back. Kate Brown, you are one of the worst kind of hypocrites. Absolutely one of the worst kind of hypocrites. And the news, you need to be reporting the other end of this story, which is these guys are not protesters. That it's a bad bill for the state of Oregon, and Americans are going to stand behind them because it's a bad bill. This works, whippers, and put them in harm's way because in your way on your greenhouse gas emissions bill, which is probably a bunch of fluff in the first place. I hope